Welcome, dear sleep-bound traveler. I'm so glad you're here with me. What if I told you there's a place where time slows down, where whitewashed villages cling to hillsides above turquoise waters, where you can walk ancient streets in complete silence as the sun rises? Tonight, I'm taking you there. Close your eyes and let's escape together to the hidden corners of Rhodes. In our last journey together, we explored part 1 of the medieval heart of Rhodes. Tonight we will go to places where nature and history intertwine, to villages where time moves even more slowly than in the old town, to forests where water flows and butterflies dance, to secluded beaches where the only sound is the gentle rhythm of waves meeting the shore. As we begin, I invite you to settle once again into complete comfort. Find that perfect position where your body can fully relax. Let your eyes close gently. Release any tension you might be holding. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your whole body sink more deeply into your bed. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it go with a soft sigh. Again, breathing in deeply and releasing completely. One more time. In and out. Beautiful. We begin our journey this time in the early morning. The sun is just beginning to rise, painting the eastern sky in shades of peach and gold. The air is fresh and cool, carrying the promise of a beautiful day ahead. We're seeking peace, tranquility, the kind of deep rest that comes from connecting with natural beauty and ancient stillness. We're traveling south along the coast toward the village of Lindos, one of the most beautiful and peaceful spots on the entire island. Let's begin our journey there as the village awakens to another gentle day. As we arrive in Lindos, the first thing that strikes us is the quiet. It's early, perhaps 7 in the morning, and the village is just beginning to stir. Most tourists are still sleeping in their hotels, which means we have this magical place almost entirely to ourselves. Lindos is built on a hillside, its brilliant white buildings cascading down the slope toward 2 beautiful bays. The architecture is traditional Cycladic style, whitewashed houses with blue painted doors and shutters, flat roofs, narrow alleyways that wind between buildings like streams finding their way down a mountain. We begin at the lower part of the village, near the main square. Here, a few locals are already up, going about their morning routines. An elderly man sweeps the stones in front of his shop with a worn broom. The rhythmic sound of bristles on stone, creating a soft, meditative percussion. A woman opens her shutters, the blue painted wood creaking slightly, and leans out to shake a small rug, sending tiny motes of dust dancing in the early sunlight. The smell of fresh bread drifts from a bakery. Someone has been up for hours, preparing for the day. We follow that scent, finding the bakery tucked into a corner of the square. Through the open door, we can see the baker pulling golden loaves from his oven, the heat creating waves in the air. But we're not here for bread just yet. We're here to walk through this beautiful village while it's still peaceful, before the heat of the day, before the arrival of crowds. We begin to climb, following one of the narrow pedestrian streets that winds upward through the village. Cars aren't allowed in most of Lindos, which means these walkways are quiet except for footsteps and voices. The path is paved with smooth pebbles set into concrete, creating beautiful mosaic-like patterns, swirls and spirals and geometric designs, each one unique, each one crafted by hand. The walls on either side of the path are brilliant white, freshly painted each spring, so clean they almost seem to glow in the morning light. Many walls have pots of flowers attached to them, bright red geraniums, purple petunias, trailing green vines. Against the white walls, these colors seem even more vivid, almost impossibly bright. The path curves and climbs, curves and climbs. We're in no hurry. We pause frequently, catching our breath, looking back at the view behind us. Already we can see out over the lower village to the bay beyond. The water, a stunning shade of turquoise in the morning light. We pass doorways that open into small courtyards, private spaces where families live their daily lives. Through one doorway, we glimpse a courtyard with a lemon tree, heavy with fruit, a small table set with a white cloth, 2 chairs waiting for breakfast. Through another, we see laundry hanging on a line, white sheets and colorful towels moving gently in the morning breeze. A cat stretches luxuriously on a sunny doorstep, its orange fur bright against the white wall. It opens one eye to regard us, decides we're not interesting enough to warrant full attention, and goes back to its sun soaking. The path narrows even more, becoming barely wide enough for one person. The buildings crowd close on either side, creating a cool shade. Here and there, wooden beams span the alley, supporting the upper stories of buildings, creating natural archways we pass beneath. We can hear sounds from within the houses now as we climb. The clink of coffee cups, water running, a radio playing soft Greek music, a mother calling to her child. These are the sounds of morning routines, familiar and comforting, reminding us that this isn't just a tourist destination. This is home to real people living real lives. The climb continues. Our legs are working now, but the effort is pleasant, engaging our bodies, making us present and aware. The morning air is cool in our lungs. The stones beneath our feet are solid. The white walls beside us radiate a gentle coolness. We emerge into a slightly wider space, not quite a square, more like a meeting point of several paths. Here, a small chapel is tucked into the wall, its door open, a few candles burning inside. We pause for just a moment at its entrance, catching a glimpse of icons and candlelight, breathing in the faint scent of incense. A tiny taverna is beginning to set up for the day. An old woman arranges chairs and tables on a small terrace that offers a stunning view of the bay. She works slowly, methodically, having done this same task thousands of mornings before. She looks up as we pass, offers a gentle nod and a soft calimera. Good morning. We return the greeting, sharing this quiet moment of early day peace. We continue climbing, and now we can see our destination above us. The Acropolis of Lindos, its ancient columns visible at the top of the hill, silhouetted against the brightening sky. The path makes one final turn, and we arrive at the base of the Acropolis hill. Stone steps lead upward, built centuries ago, worn smooth by countless pilgrims and visitors. These final steps are steeper, but there's a rope handrail to help us, and we climb slowly, steadily, pausing when we need to, breathing in the fresh morning air. And then we reach the entrance to the Acropolis itself. We pass through an ancient gateway, the stones overhead massive and perfectly fitted despite their age, and we step onto the summit. The Acropolis of Lindos is extraordinary, not as large or famous as the Acropolis in Athens, but in some ways even more beautiful because of its dramatic setting on this cliff overlooking the sea. The site has been sacred for over 3,000 years. Ancient Greeks built a temple here to Athena Lindia, goddess of wisdom. Romans added their own structures. Byzantine Greeks built a church. Medieval knights constructed fortifications. Each civilization left its mark, and now we walk among these layered ruins, feeling the weight of history beneath our feet and the vastness of time around us. But what strikes us most powerfully is not just the history, it's the peace, the profound stillness of this place in the early morning, the sense of standing at a threshold between earth and sky, between past and present, between the solid ground and the infinite blue above. We walk slowly across the ancient stones. Some are still in place as they were laid thousands of years ago. Others have fallen, creating a picturesque chaos that somehow feels right, natural, as if even collapse is part of the beauty. The main temple area is at the highest point. Here, several columns still stand, tall, graceful, their fluted surfaces catching the morning light. They're made of a pale, honey-colored stone that seems to glow from within. These columns once supported a roof, creating a temple where priestesses tended sacred fires and worshippers came to seek wisdom. Now there's no roof, just these columns reach upward toward the open sky, creating a temple whose ceiling is the heavens themselves. We walk between the columns, trailing our fingers along their surfaces. The stone is cool and smooth, slightly rough in places where time and weather have etched their marks. We can feel the individual flutes carved by ancient craftsmen, feel the precision of their work, the care they took in creating beauty that would last millennia. The view from here is breathtaking. On one side, the village of Lindos spreads down the hillside, its white buildings brilliant against the darker green of the landscape. On the other side, the cliff drops away dramatically to the sea far below. The sea, oh, the sea. From this height, we can see its many shades of blue. Near the shore, it's the palest turquoise, almost glowing. Further out, it deepens to azure, then to a profound blue-violet in the deepest water. The surface is textured by gentle ripples, catching the sunlight, creating an ever-changing pattern of light and shadow. Two bays curve below us, the main bay where boats are anchored, their white hulls bright against the blue water, and St. Paul's Bay, a smaller, more protected cove, almost completely enclosed by rocky headlands. We can see tiny figures on the beach far below. Early risers like us, swimming in the clear water or walking along the sand. From this height, they look like moving specks, reminding us of our own smallness in the grand scale of nature and time. The breeze up here is steady and strong. It flows across the cliff top continuously, carrying the scent of the sea, the wild herbs that grow in crevices in the rocks, the very essence of this high, sacred place. It moves through the columns with a soft, sighing sound, a whisper that might be wind, or might be the voices of all those who've stood here before us, their prayers and hopes and dreams still echoing in this space. We find a fallen stone, still massive despite its collapse, and we sit down on it, facing the sea. The stone is still warm from yesterday's sun, comfortable to sit on. We simply sit, breathing, being, watching. The sun is higher now, its light stronger, beginning to bring real warmth to the morning. The shadows cast by the columns are still long, but growing shorter. The quality of the light is that particular clarity that belongs to Greek islands. Everything seems sharply defined, colors vivid, the air itself almost visible in its purity. A bird lands on one of the columns, a small bird with brown feathers and a cheerful song. It seems completely at home here among these ancient stones, singing its morning song as if performing for the goddess herself. After a moment, it takes flight again, swooping out over the cliff edge, caught by the wind, riding the air currents with effortless grace. We watch it until it disappears against the backdrop of the sea and sky. Time passes. We're not sure how long we will sit here. The sun continues to rise. The wind continues to flow. The sea continues its eternal presence below us. There's something profoundly peaceful about being in a place that has been considered sacred for thousands of years, as if the countless prayers offered here, the countless moments of devotion and awe, have somehow soaked into the stones themselves, creating an atmosphere that nurtures peace in all who enter. Peace itself is a sacred thing, the stillness, the connection to something larger than ourselves, the sense of being held by history, nature, and beauty all at once. Eventually, gently, we rise from our stone seats. We take one more slow walk among the columns, one more long look at the sea and the sky, and then we begin our descent. The walk down through Lindos village is easier than the climb up. Gravity helps us now. The village is more awake than when we arrived. Shops are opening, cafes are setting out their breakfast tables. More people are moving through the streets. But we carry the peace of the Acropolis with us as we walk. It's inside us now, a quietness that no amount of external activity can disturb. At the lower square, we stopped at the bakery, whose scent greeted us earlier. We buy a piece of warm tyropita, cheese pie. Its flaky phyllo dough is crispy and golden, the cheese inside still warm and slightly tangy. We eat it slowly, savoring each bite, and it tastes like morning, like tradition, like home, even though we're far from home. Nourished and peaceful, we make our way to our next destination. We're heading inland now, to a place where the forest grows thick and water flows year-round, even in the heat of summer. The Valley of the Butterflies awaits. The drive from Lindos to the Valley of the Butterflies takes us through the interior of Rhodes, away from the coast, into an older, quieter landscape. We pass through small villages where life moves at an unhurried pace. We see olive groves, their ancient trees twisted and gnarled, their silver green leaves shimmering in the breeze. We pass vineyards where grapes hang heavy on the vines, waiting for harvest. And then we arrive at Petaludis, the Valley of the Butterflies, a nature reserve unlike anywhere else on Rhodes. We park in a small lot shaded by tall trees and make our way to the entrance. The change in atmosphere is immediate. Here, surrounded by forest, the air is cooler than it was at the coast. We can hear water, the sound of a stream, of small waterfalls, of flowing, living water, creating its endless song. We pay a small entrance fee and begin our walk into the valley. The path ahead of us is shaded by towering trees, plane trees, cypresses, pines, their canopy thick overhead, filtering the sunlight into soft, dappled patterns that shift and move across the ground. The path is a wooden walkway built to protect the delicate ecosystem while allowing visitors to explore. Our footsteps on the wood make a soft, hollow sound. Thump, 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 rhythmic and soothing. Almost immediately, we're enveloped by the cool, green atmosphere of the forest. The temperature has dropped noticeably, where it might be approaching 30 degrees Celsius on the beach. Here in the valley, it's perhaps 22. Cool enough to be refreshing, warm enough to be comfortable. The sound of water is all around us. We can't always see it, but we can hear it. The gurgle of the stream below the walkway, the splash of small waterfalls, the drip of moisture from moss-covered rocks. It's a sound that seems to bypass the mind and speak directly to something ancient in our bodies, something that knows water means life, safety, abundance. The trees press close on either side of the walkway. Their bark is textured and varied, smooth gray on some trees, rough and furrowed on others. Moss grows in patches, bright green and soft-looking. Ferns sprout from crevices, their fronds unfurling in perfect spirals. And then we see them, the butterflies. They're everywhere, though at first glance they're hard to spot because they blend so perfectly with the tree bark. These are Jersey tiger moths, despite being called butterflies by locals. When their wings are closed, they're a mottled pattern of cream and brown, camouflaged perfectly against the plain tree trunks. But when they fly, they reveal their secret. The underwings are brilliant orange with black markings. Suddenly, what appeared to be bark comes alive, and dozens, hundreds, thousands of moths take flight at once, creating a moving tapestry of orange and black against the green forest. They don't fly far, just a few meters, and then they settle again on another tree trunk, folding their wings, disappearing back into camouflage. But for that brief moment of flight, they're beautiful, unexpected, magical. We walk slowly, pausing often, watching the silent dance of butterflies. They're drawn to this valley by the sweet resin of the oriental sweet gum trees that grow here. The resin provides food, and the cool, moist environment provides the perfect conditions for them to rest during the hot summer months. The walkway follows the stream, sometimes passing right over it, allowing us to look down into the clear water flowing below. We can see the stream bed, smooth stones in shades of gray and brown, worn round by the endless passage of water. Occasionally, a small fish darts through the shallows, visible for just a moment before disappearing under an overhang. We come to a small waterfall, perhaps 2 meters high. The water cascades over moss-covered rocks, creating a curtain of white foam before collecting in a clear pool below. The sound of the falling water is loud here, but not harsh. It's a full, rich sound, filling the forest with its presence. We pause beside this waterfall, standing on the wooden walkway, feeling the cool mist that rises from the falling water. Tiny droplets settle on our skin, our face, our arms. It's wonderfully refreshing. We close our eyes for a moment, just feeling the mist, listening to the water, breathing in the damp, green scented air. The forest here feels ancient, unchanged, as if we've stepped back in time to a world where humans were just visitors, where nature reigned completely. The trees have been growing here for decades, maybe centuries. The stream has been flowing here for millennia. The butterflies have been coming here for as long as anyone can remember. We're just passing through, just witnessing, just being present to this beauty for a brief moment before we continue our own journey. The walkway continues deeper into the valley, climbing gradually now. We pass more waterfalls, more pools, more sections of forest, where butterflies rest on tree trunks in such numbers that the bark seems to shimmer and breathe. The air is filled with the scent of forest, damp earth, green leaves, wood, water, the faint sweetness of the tree resin. It's a scent that triggers something deep in our biology, a recognition of forests as places of abundance and safety. Birds call from the canopy overhead. We can't see them, but we can hear them. Complex songs, simple chirps, the harsh call of a jay, the cooing of doves. Each bird adds its voice to the forest symphony. Insects hum and buzz. Not aggressively. We're not bothered by them. Just present. Part of the soundscape. Part of the life that pulses through this place. The light continues to change as we walk, as the sun moves higher in the sky. The dappled patterns on the forest floor shift and dance. Sometimes we walk through patches of brilliant sunlight that have found their way through the canopy. Sometimes we walk through cool, deep shade, where the green seems even more intense. We're aware of our body as we walk. Our legs move steadily. Our arms swing gently. Our breath comes easily despite the gradual climb. Our heart beats steadily, pumping blood, keeping us alive, keeping us present. There's something meditative about walking in a forest, the repetitive movement, the natural rhythm, the way the path unfolds before us, step by step, never all at once, always revealing just what we need to see at this moment. We reach a point where the walkway opens onto a small viewing platform. From here, we can look down into a wider section of the valley, where the stream broadens and multiple waterfalls create a tiered cascade of white water over dark rocks. The sound is louder here, fuller. It surrounds us completely, fills our ears, drowns out every other sound. There's something freeing about this. Our thoughts seem to quiet under the weight of all this water sound. Our mind has less room to chatter when our ears are filled with the voice of the stream. We stand on this platform for several minutes, just listening, just watching the water fall and fall and fall, never stopping, never tiring, always renewing itself in this endless cycle. And then, when we feel complete, when we sense it's time, we continue on. The walkway eventually loops back, bringing us toward the entrance again, but through different sections of forest. We see more butterflies, more waterfalls, more of this green, peaceful world. And finally, we emerge back into the brighter, warmer world. Outside the valley, the contrast is striking. It's only been an hour or so, but the forest feels like a different realm, and returning to the regular world requires a moment of adjustment. We're refreshed though, cooled, calmed, carrying the peace of the forest with us as we move on to our next destination. Our next stop is not far from the Valley of the Butterflies. It's another place where water is the central feature, but with a different character entirely. Seven Springs, Acropolis in Greek, is a magical spot where 7 natural springs bubble up from the ground, feeding streams that eventually join together to form a small river that flows year-round. We arrive at the entrance where a charming taverna sits beneath enormous plane trees. Their shade is so dense, so complete, that the temperature beneath them must be 10 degrees cooler than in the direct sun. Tables and chairs are set out, and a few people sit drinking cold water or coffee, enjoying the coolness, the sound of running water, and the peaceful atmosphere. We follow the signs to the springs themselves, walking on a dirt path that winds through the forest. Almost immediately, we hear water again. Not the roar of waterfalls this time, but the gentler sound of flowing streams, the splash and gurgle of water, moving over rocks and around roots. The path brings us to a small clearing where the springs are visible. They emerge from cracks in the rocks, from beneath tree roots, from openings in the earth itself. Clear water bubbles up, fresh and cold, collecting in small pools before overflowing and joining the streams. The water is crystal clear, so clear we can see every detail of the stream bed, every stone, every patch of green algae, every small fish that darts through the shallows. There's a small wooden footbridge crossing one of the streams. We walk across it slowly, pausing in the middle to look down at the water flowing beneath us. It's mesmerizing. The way the water moves around obstacles, finds its path, continues its journey without hesitation or doubt. The forest here is dominated by enormous plane trees, their trunks thick and gnarled, their branches spreading wide to create a living roof above us. In some places, their roots are exposed, creating gnarled sculptures that arch over the streams. We follow the path alongside one of the streams, walking on flat stones that have been placed to create a stepping stone trail. The stones are slightly damp, cool beneath our feet, even through our shoes. The air here is cool and humid. We can feel the moisture on our skin, in our lungs. Every breath feels cleansing, refreshing, full of life-giving oxygen produced by all this green growth around us. Small waterfalls create music as the stream descends. Each fall has its own pitch, its own rhythm. Together they create a natural symphony, complex and beautiful, never repeating exactly but always harmonious. We come to a famous feature of 7 springs, a narrow tunnel carved through the rock. This tunnel was built in the 1920s by the Italians when they occupied Rhodes. designed to bring water from the springs to irrigate nearby farmland. It's about 180 meters long, narrow, completely dark inside, with ankle-deep cold water flowing through it. There's a choice here. We can walk through the tunnel, which is an adventure of sorts, emerging into daylight on the other side where a small lake is formed. Or we can take the path over the top, which is easier but less memorable. We step into the entrance of a tunnel. The temperature drops immediately. The light fades, and within a few steps, we're in complete darkness. The only light comes from the entrance behind us and, eventually, from the exit ahead. But for much of the walk, we're in total darkness. Our eyes are useless here. We must rely on our other senses. Our feet feel the smooth stone floor of the tunnel beneath the water. Feel the cold current flowing past our ankles. Our hands trail along the cool, damp wall of the tunnel, keeping us oriented, keeping us connected to something solid. Our ears are filled with the sound of water, our own splashing as we walk, the echo of those splashes off the tunnel walls, the gurgle of water flowing, all of it amplified by the enclosed space. The cold water on our ankles is intense at first, almost shocking, but we adjust quickly. It becomes not cold, but refreshing, invigorating, cleansing. There's something primal about being in complete darkness, something that triggers ancient instincts. But here, knowing we're safe, knowing the tunnel is straight and leads to light, we can experience this darkness as peaceful rather than frightening. It's meditative, actually, walking slowly through the dark, one step at a time, focused completely on the present moment, on the sensations of water, stone, and darkness. And then ahead we begin to see light, just a small glow at first, then growing brighter as we approach. And finally we emerge back into daylight, and it's almost overwhelming after the darkness. Colors seem brighter, sounds clearer, the warmth on our skin more noticeable. We've emerged at a small artificial lake created by a dam across the stream. The water here is still, reflecting the trees and sky like a mirror. The surface is disturbed only by tiny insects skating across it, or by the occasional fish rising to snatch at something invisible. A few ducks paddle peacefully on the far side of the lake, their passage creating small V-shaped wakes that spread across the mirror surface. Around the lake, the forest continues, dense and green and peaceful. A few people sit on rocks at the water's edge, some dangling their feet in the cool water, others simply sitting in quiet contemplation. We find our own spot, a flat rock with a view across the lake. We sit down, our legs stretched out in front of us, our wet feet beginning to dry in the warm air. We're in no hurry to move. The combination of cool water, warm air, green forest, and complete peace is too precious to rush away from. We watch the ducks, we watch the water, we watch the play of light on the surface of the lake. We listen to the forest sounds, birds, insects, the rustle of leaves in the breeze, the distant sound of water still flowing, and we simply rest, body and mind, completely present, completely peaceful. Eventually, knowing that more beauty awaits us on our journey, we rise. We make our way back along the lake edge, back through the forest, back past the springs, and back to where our journey continues. We return to the coast now, to one of the most beautiful and peaceful beaches on Rhodes. St. Paul's Bay, Agios Pavlos, is a small, almost completely enclosed cove, protected by rocky headlands on 3 sides, with only a narrow opening to the sea. Legend says this is where the Apostle Paul landed when he came to Rhodes to spread Christianity. Whether or not the legend is true, there's something special about this place. Something peaceful, something sacred. As we arrive and make our way down to the beach, the first thing we notice is the color of the water. It's breathtaking. The most vivid turquoise we've ever seen. So bright it almost doesn't seem real. Near the shore, where the water is shallow over pale sand, it's the color of aquamarine gemstones, glowing and luminous. Further out, in deeper water, it becomes a richer, deeper, clear blue. The beach itself is small, a narrow curve of sand, maybe 50 meters long. The sand is golden, fine, warm beneath our bare feet. As we walk down to the water's edge, the cove is almost completely protected. The rocky headlands block most of the wind and waves, so the water here is calm, gently lapping at the shore with a soft, rhythmic sound. Swish, 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 like breathing. There are a few other people here. It's not completely deserted, but it's quiet. Families with young children paddle in the shallow water. A couple swims lazily further out. A few people lie on towels on the sand, reading or sleeping, soaking in the warmth of the afternoon sun. But there's space for everyone, and the atmosphere is peaceful, not crowded or noisy. On one of the rocky headlands, a small white chapel perches at the edge of the cliff. Agios Pavlos Chapel, dedicated to St. Paul, its whitewashed walls bright against the blue sky, its bell tower simple and elegant. Its landmark visible from across the bay, adding a human element to this natural beauty. We spread our towel on the sand, far enough from the water that we won't get splashed, close enough that we can easily walk down for a swim when we're ready. We lie back on the towel, feeling the warm sand beneath us through the fabric, and simply rest for a few moments. The sun is warm on our skin, but the breeze coming off the water keeps us from getting too hot. It's that perfect balance of warmth and coolness that makes you never want to move. We close our eyes, listening to the sounds, the gentle waves, the distant voices of other beachgoers, soft and unintrusive, seabirds calling as they wheel overhead. The breeze moves through nearby grasses and scrub. The sun creates patterns of red and orange behind our closed eyelids. We can feel it penetrating our skin, warming us from the outside in, the kind of deep warmth that makes every muscle relax, every tension release. Eventually, drawn by that incredible water, we rise and walk down to the sea. The water is cool at first contact, a stark contrast to the warmth of the sun and sand, but it's not cold. It's refreshing, perfect. We wade in slowly, one step at a time, letting our body adjust gradually. The bottom is sandy here, smooth and even, with no rocks or sharp objects. Each step takes us a little deeper. Ankles, calves, knees, thighs. And then we dive forward, submerging ourselves completely in that crystal clear water. It's blissful. The cool water envelopes us completely, touching every part of our skin at once, washing away any remaining heat, any remaining tension. We open our eyes underwater and can see clearly. Our own hands, the sandy bottom a few meters below. Small fish darting away from us, the sunlight filtering down in shafts of light that dance and sway with the gentle movement of the water. We surface, floating on our back now, completely relaxed, completely supported by the water. The sun is warm on our face, the water cool on the rest of our body. Perfect. We float like this for several minutes, maybe longer. Time loses meaning when we're floating, held by water, warmed by the sun, completely at peace. The water here is so buoyant, so clear, so warm yet cool. We could float forever. Eventually we flip over and swim a bit. Slow, easy strokes that take us further out into the bay. The water is deep enough now that we can't touch the bottom, but the bay is protected enough that we never feel unsafe. We swim to one of the rocky headlands and grab hold of a rock, catching our breath, looking back at the beach. From here, we have a different perspective. We can see the full curve of the little beach, the chapel on its perch, the few people scattered along the sand, the brilliant white buildings of Lindos, visible in the distance on its hillside. We can also see out through the narrow opening of the bay to the open sea beyond. Out there, the water is deeper blue, textured by waves, but here, inside this protected cove, all is calm. We float on our back again, this time looking up at the rocky cliff beside us. The stone is layered, striped with different colors: cream, brown, gray. Plants have found footholds in cracks and crevices, adding splashes of green. Seabirds nest in the cliffs, and we can see them flying in and out. Hear their calls echoing off the stone. When we feel complete, when we've absorbed all the peace and beauty this cove has to offer, we swim slowly back to shore. Our strokes are lazy, unhurried. There's nowhere we need to be except here now, moving through this beautiful water. Our feet touch sand again. We walk up out of the water, feeling it stream off our body, back into the sea. The warm air begins to dry our skin immediately. We can feel the salt left behind, a slight tightness that somehow feels good, natural and right. We return to our towel, lie down again and rest. The sun will dry us completely. The warmth will sink into our bones, and we'll carry this peace with us to our final destination, a remote beach, an endless horizon, and stars. So many stars. The sun is setting now as we make our way to our final destination. We've left all the tourist areas behind. We drove south, then turned off onto a dirt road, and finally parked near a beach that few people know about, far from towns and villages. This is a wild beach, not developed, no facilities, just sand and sea and sky and the natural world. As we walk over a small dune and the beach reveals itself, we stop for a moment, taking it in. It's perfect. A long, wide stretch of golden sand, untouched except for the patterns wind has drawn across its surface. The sand is so fine it flows like silk between our toes as we step onto it. There are no footprints except our own. The sea stretches before us to the horizon, and oh, that horizon, it's endless, infinite. The line where sea meets sky, so perfectly defined it could be drawn with a ruler. The water is calm, gentle waves rolling in with a soft, steady rhythm that's been the same for millions of years and will continue for millions more. The sun is low now, just above the horizon, a huge orange disk that's lost its harshness, becoming a shiny object we can look at directly without hurting our eyes. The sky around it is painted in gradients of color, orange fading to peach, to pink, to purple, to deep blue overhead where the first stars are beginning to appear. The entire beach is bathed in this golden light. Everything glows. The sand seems luminous. The water reflects the sunset, creating a double display of beauty. Sky above and a sky reflected below. We walked where the sand is still damp from the last tide, where it's firmer beneath our feet. We walk along the water's edge, leaving footprints that the next wave gently erases, as if we were never here at all. The water is warm when it touches our feet. We're far south enough, late enough in summer, that the sea has absorbed months of sunshine, storing that heat, offering it back to us now. We walk slowly, in no particular direction, just walking because it feels good, because the beauty demands some kind of response, and walking is our way of honoring it. Shells lie scattered on the sand, mostly small fragments, tumbled smooth by the waves, but occasionally a whole shell, perfect and beautiful, a reminder of the life that fills this sea. We find a place that calls to us, no different from any other spot on this beach, really, but somehow it feels right. We spread our towel on the sand and sat down, facing the sea and the sun down, and we simply watch as the sun completes its long journey. It touches the horizon, then gradually it sinks lower. Half of it below the waterline now, the sea seems to swallow it. The colors in the sky intensify, becoming even more beautiful in these final moments. And then, the last sliver of sun disappears. The day is over. Evening has truly arrived. But the light doesn't disappear all at once. It lingers. The sky holds onto the memory of the sun for a long time, continuing to glow even after the source of that glow is gone. We lie back on our towels now, looking up at the sky instead of the horizon. The stars are multiplying rapidly. What was just a few visible stars moments ago is now dozens, hundreds, so many we can't begin to count them. The Milky Way becomes visible, stretching across the sky like a river of light. Billions of stars so distant and faint that individually they're invisible, but together they create this luminous band across the heavens. We lie still, completely relaxed, watching this display. The sound of the waves continues, never stopping, never changing. Swish, swish, swish. The temperature is perfect. The day's heat is gone, but the night hasn't yet brought coolness. The sand beneath us still holds warmth from the sun. The breeze off the water is gentle, pleasant, carrying the scent of the sea. We've never felt so peaceful, so completely, utterly at rest. We find familiar constellations, Orion with his belt, the Big Dipper, Cassiopeia, and countless stars whose names we don't know, whose light has been traveling through space for years, centuries, or millennia, just to reach our eyes at this moment. A satellite moves slowly across the sky, a moving star among the fixed ones. We watch its steady progress until it disappears into the Earth's shadow. A shooting star streaks across the sky, brilliant for just a second, gone almost before we register it. We don't think at all to make a wish. We don't need to. Everything we need is right here, right now. The waves continue their rhythm. The stars continue their ancient dance. And we simply rest. Our breathing slows, deepens, synchronizes with the waves. In, out, as eternal and as natural as the tide. Our body sinks more deeply into relaxation. Every muscle softens, every bit of tension releases. We feel heavy and light at the same time, grounded by the sand beneath us and lifted by the beauty above us. Our mind grows quiet. Thoughts come less frequently, drift away more easily. The constant chatter that usually fills our head fades to a whisper, then to silence. There's nothing we need to do, nowhere we need to be, no problems we need to solve, no future we need to plan for, no past we need to revisit. Just this moment, this breath, this star, this wave, this peace. The darkness is complete now. The sky is deep indigo, almost black, making the stars seem even brighter by contrast. The sea is dark too, visible only where the starlight catches the white foam of the waves. But we're not afraid of the darkness. It's comforting. It's like a blanket, soft and protective, wrapping around us, holding us safely while we rest. The rhythm of the waves continues to lull us. The vastness of the stars continues to humble us. The warmth of the sand continues to comfort us. And somewhere in this perfect moment, this perfect peace, the boundary between waking and sleeping begins to blur. Are we awake? Are we dreaming? Does it matter? We're here, under the stars, by the sea, on this ancient island, connected to everything, at peace with everything. And as the waves whisper their eternal song, as the stars shine their ancient light, we finally, completely, perfectly let go. Now our journey through hidden roads has come to its natural conclusion. We've climbed to ancient temples where columns reach toward the sky. We've walked through cool forests where butterflies dance and water flows. We've waded through darkness and emerged into light. We've swum in protected coves where the water glows like gemstones. And finally, we've rested on a remote beach under more stars than we ever knew existed. But more than visiting these places, we've touched something deeper. We've remembered how to be still, how to be present, how to let beauty wash over us without needing to capture it or own it, how to simply be. As you lie here now, carry with you the sensations of this journey, the coolness of forest shade, the clarity of spring water, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the gentle rhythm of waves, the vast peace of stars. Let these sensations continue to flow through you, relaxing you more and more deeply. Let your breathing continue to match the rhythm of the sea. Let your body continue to sink into the support beneath you, as complete as sand, sinking into sand. You don't need to hold on to anything. You don't need to try to stay awake. You can release everything, knowing you're safe, knowing you're held, knowing that rest is your natural state. The stars will continue to shine through the night. The waves will continue their eternal rhythm. And you can sleep now. Deeply, peacefully, completely. There's nothing more to do. Nowhere else to go. Just this moment, this breath, this release into sleep. Thank you for traveling with me through Rhodes. May your dreams be as peaceful as these island shores, as vast as the starry sky, as eternal as the sea. Rest well, dear traveler. Kalinikta. Sweet dreams.